Hey folks, alright, so today I'm going to be doing a couple of things, but this morning I need to get my blog post written because I write a blog post every Monday so that I can send it out on Tuesday. And yeah, so I have actually already written a part of this blog post and I'm just going to finish it and yeah, live streaming because why not? So let me switch over to the scene and here's what we're going to do. So yesterday, Dan and I went a little bit back and forth on the value of little helpers that you can use to test hooks. In particular, he was talking about a package that I kind of helped start called React Hooks Testing Library. And he was just saying that it obfuscates the what it's doing, and it's not doing a whole lot, so that obfuscation isn't worthwhile. And I mostly agree with him, but yeah, somebody's Raphael is asking if I could do a Twilio video tutorial someday. Maybe. I actually do use the Twilio API, but I haven't written any code for it in years, but I use it every day. There's a little app that I made for it, but yeah, so maybe one day, I don't know. But yeah, so I'm just going to write a blog post. Well, so what he was saying is people would try to add React Hooks Testing Library to projects at Facebook, and he would ask them, so do you know what this is doing? And they have no idea what it's doing. They don't understand it, and it's not doing a whole lot. Well, it's doing more than I think Dan was saying it was justified for, but yeah. So he was saying it's not worth it because people don't understand what it's doing, and I was saying, well, people don't understand what lots of their abstractions do, and they absolutely would be better served to understand what their abstractions do. So this is no different. And he was saying, well, it just doesn't provide enough value. And I can see his perspective there. But yeah, at some point your test is separated from what you're actually testing, and you actually start testing your test component. And so if your test component's broken, then things can get confusing. So anyway, I was just going to write a blog post to explain how React Hooks Testing Library works so that people can use it and understand what it's doing. And yeah, so that's kind of the goal here, at least partially. I think I'm not going to go too deep into it, but yeah, that's what's going on. And somebody just mentioned they read the thread on Twitter, so I'm actually going to go look for that thread and paste a link to it because I'm sure people will ask if I don't do that right now. So, oh, that's on my tweets and replies actually. So here's where Dan's thread starts. I have a separate thread on here where I say basically what Dan says, except, yeah, because I share a video that I created before React Hooks Testing Library was the thing where I teach how I do that. But anyway, pasted it in the chat. You can go read that. Okay, so what I've got so far is I don't have anything written yet. I've just started creating my example. And so let me get the test running. What's kind of cool is when I have tests that I'm doing, the test for my blog project can run against the examples that I create just right in the blog post, which is pretty cool. And so I can write it all out, make sure that it works, and then copy and paste stuff over to the blog post as needed. So it's kind of cool. The way that the test works here at first, for the real world example, this is kind of what Dan was suggesting, is you make a component that uses the hook and then you can get coverage on the hook. It actually reads quite nicely. So we render it and then we get present, past, future divs. We get the input and submit button and undo and redo. And then we just expect undo and redo to be disabled. Now that doesn't tell us anything about the hook, and that's what I'm going to say is you have to understand the example to understand the tests. And so it's just another layer of things to learn when you jump into maintaining the tests. So it doesn't really give you a straightforward understanding of what the purpose of the hook is. Yeah, and it's harder to draw the lines between the hook and the test example. So anyway, that's a point that I'm going to make in the blog post. But the test reads quite nicely. So here, past, there is no past, there's a present, there's no future. We've you change the value, and now we have a past, we have a present, but no future still. And redo is disabled, but undo is not. So now you can actually undo stuff. We update the value again, and so on and so forth. And yeah, so we just kind of interact with it. So I finished this one. This one is fine. Now I'm going to here, and actually, you know what? I'm going to add comments in here. So assert initial state, update or add new value. Oops. Assert a new state, and here we'll call this second value, and we'll assert third add third value, assert new state, and undo, assert new state, undone, undo again, assert double undone state, redo, and then assert undo plus redo state, and then what is it? Add fourth value, assert final state. Note the lack of third. Yep, there we go. Okay, so that's how that works. And now some people might write this differently. They might say, hey, that sure looks like one test, right here. They'd say, okay, so this is just one test that verifies that you can add a new value, and then we need another test that verifies that you can add another value on top of that, and then another test to verify you can undo. And I say, keep your test short, man. Yeah, let's go ahead and make a use undo with, I'm going to do 3 of these. So this one's going to be helper.js. And so we'll copy all this, paste it right here. And instead of a real world thing, we're going to do, actually, I've got a thing I can copy paste here really quick. I need a Chrome window where you can see it, because I don't want to write it. I don't want to make a mistake. I've written it already. So test hook, how not to test custom React hooks, and back when I was doing dev tips every day. Don't do that as much anymore, kind of busy. And right here, so it's this thing. Get rid of that, actually. Okay. Okay, so instead of setup, yeah, setup is fine. Yep. So setup UI is what we'll do. React. Let's see. We'll render UI. Or no, we need to do. And this was. Wait a second. Did I turn this into a render prop or something? Use counter was a hook. And oh, yeah, I did. Huh. Yeah, that's interesting. It's probably not how I'll do it these days. Maybe. test component children, or yeah, set, or yeah, we don't need to do any props. And then val equals, or here we'll just object assign return val use undo, and we'll just have options, or we'll do args. Okay, and then return null from this. Then we'll render the test component, get rid of all that. And yeah, then we'll do this. Thank you, Adnan. We are doing well. Appreciate that. Okay, sweet. So we'll run setup. I've never used any code testing methodology and my clients are happy thus far. When and how can testing be important and useful? It's a pretty big question. I'm not going to answer it right now because I'm busy doing other stuff, but you can go to my blog and look at all of my blog posts on testing, and you'll love it. Just find the ones that look interesting to you. Okay, cool. So now things are going to be quite different. So we're not going to get any of these values. We won't even need screen anymore or fire event because we're not going to be interacting with the DOM at all. But we will need act because we're going to be calling functions and stuff. So with this, we're going to get our return, or our undo data. Yep, that's what we'll call it. And so to assert the initial state, we'll say undo data dot can undo to be false, and undo data here. Actually, let's can undo to be false. Oh, and actually undo data can redo to be false, and then this needs to be undo data. And then past, so this is going to be undo data dot past to equal empty array, and then this is undo data dot present to equal 1, and undo data dot future to equal empty array. Okay, cool. So then we need to act and do a set. So act, and then undo data dot set, and actually we should probably not do a implicit return there. 2, and then let's come here, undo data can undo to be true. There we go. And then past can, or undo data dot past to equal, and I don't know why, but I'm stuck on that. What is better? Is Vue, which is not there in React? I don't know what you're asking. What markdown reader do you use? I don't use a markdown reader. Okay, so then we got to undo data dot present, and then we've got our future. Still working in React 15. See if you can upgrade. It'd be a worthwhile endeavor, I think. I know that not everybody can upgrade, but I think it's a good idea. Okay, so then we're going to go 3, and then we'll assert our new state, our past is now, here we'll just grab both of these, stick that here, and this is going to have 2, this will have 3, and then we want to click on undo, so this will be act, and undo data, undo, and then undo data can redo to be true. And then this is going to be undo data.past to equal 1. And then undo data.present to equal 2. And then undo, undo data dot future to equal, and that got the quotes on the wrong side. There we go. 3, and then we gotta undo again. So that'll get us to undo data dot future to equal that. Peace to those comments. So then we've got redo. Actually, the best thing that you can do, if rather than donate, the best thing you can do is buy my workshops and courses. That would be awesome. And then you can learn even more. It would be great. Okay, so fourth value, and we're setting. So let's go up here. I'll grab a set for 4. Yeah, if you're not getting paid, don't bother. Especially, yeah, don't worry about donating. I'm doing okay. I'm doing fine. But once you're getting paid and stuff, then that's great. My job here is done. Happy with that. Undo data past will be an array with these 2 elements, 1 and 2. Whoops. And then undo data dot present will just be 4. And let's see if that passes. Rats. Okay, to be false. What? All right, fine. To be false. And I'm guessing to be true is also, I think that's actually in a community package that's like just expect extend or something like that. To be true. Okay, so we expected it to be false, but it's undefined. That actually sounds like a bug in our undo thing. So let's come down here. Can undo, can redo. Can undo. That is interesting. Let's log this out. Oh, right, my bad. So this is going to be undo data. Let's see. I know what I'm going to do. We'll have return state val, return utils val, and state utils, state, return state val, and utils val. And then we'll return those together. Okay, and then here we'll have undo state, undo utils, and then yep, so all of these will need to be undo utils, and all of these will be undo utils. These will also be undo utils, and undo utils, and then our redo. Okay. And undo state is undefined for present. So let's find out what's going on here. Adnan asking about using Jest or Cypress to test an iframe. No. So you can test. So let's say you're building a thing that's intended to be used in an iframe. You can test that thing by itself, not in an iframe. But once you stick it in an iframe, Cypress can't see it, and neither can Jest. So yeah, that is a sad limitation. Okay, so present is undefined. Oh, right, because we want to initialize it. Yeah, so here are our args first. There we go. Okay, or 1. That's what I called it. Okay. Oh, 2 have text content. My bad. To equal. And this should not be an array. And that should not be an array either. We're almost there. Here we go. Okay, sweet. Just a couple silly things. But yeah, so the nice thing about this, and this is what the argument that I'm going to make, is that you do have to understand what this setup is doing, and arguably it's a little bit more complicated. But once, okay, I'm actually starting to question myself a little bit. Yeah, actually, let's if I wasn't using this use undo example that returns an array, then it actually would be easier. But because I am, we have to split these things up, which makes it not easier. Well, I'll still make the argument, and we'll see what people have to say about it. Okay, so then we'll say use undo rt hooks library.js. And I don't think I have that installed, so we'll npm install testing library react hooks. And I think I want that as a dev dependency. Okay. React hooks. And that's basically what this setup function does, is what render does. Let me just make sure. Whoops. If you're using container pattern with hooks, that's I don't recommend it. And I've actually been asked about this quite a bit, so you can go look at my dev tips container. There it is. Where is it? Go check this out, where I talk about why it's totally not necessary these days. Okay, but I'm looking for React hooks testing library. And the way this works, yeah, just render hook, give it a callback, and then result.current is what you're looking for. Okay, cool. So, and actually, you know what? Let's just keep this setup going like we were. Render hook. And then we say render hook. Here's our callback. Use undo. And yeah, then this will not work the same way because we'll need a current property. Let me think. Yeah, here's what we'll do. And we can get rid of React on here, which is kind of neat. Undo. So this will be undo current at 1. Yep, that's not fun, but that's what it'll be. Undo current at 0. That should pass, I think. Pretty sure. Yeah. Now that's odd. Oh, we got to destructure the result. Result. Maybe we'll just keep it as result. Result. Yeah, see, and everybody's going to be like, well, okay, why don't we just do the same thing we were doing before, but then destructure it? But it's, well, then we'll lose a reference to what current is updated to. So that won't work. Yeah, this is not better. And in fact, we don't need to do the setup thing anymore. We can just do 1, get rid of setup. Yep. Okay, I gotta go somewhere really quick. I'll be right back. I'm back. Okay. So, yeah, my guess is people aren't going to understand the reason why this has to be this way. What a pain that is. It is a pain. It's no fun. So, Dan is right. This one's way easier. You just have to learn how this thing operates. And then, yeah, and the reason that this works so nicely is because you don't have to worry about reference stuff, because you just use this global thing. And this gets mutated. These values get mutated. That's why it works so nicely. Whereas these are primitive values, so we cannot mutate them, which is why we have to do the dot. And then this is updated on every re-render, which is why we can't just reference the values that come off of it at the start and just reference that object like we do in this one, because this value is not mutated, it's just replaced. So it's actually result.current gets mutated, but this value is not mutated. One thing we could do here, let's try this. Use undo helper 2. Is we could come here, and actually, you know what? Let's, whoops. Node mod. Or no, I'm looking for yeah, okay. Okay, so we could do import from React test renderer. And then we could do That should still pass, actually. Yep. And then we can bring this down. We could say let can undo, can redo, past, present, future, set, undo, redo. And we just say can undo equals utils can undo, can redo equals utils can redo, past equals utils dot past, present equals utils dot present, future equals utils dot future, set is utils dot set, and I just realized this isn't utils, these are state. Actually, I think there's a way to make this assignment all on a single line of destructuring, so let's do this. Can undo, can redo, set, undo, redo, utils, and past, present, future, state. Hallelujah. One. And then all of these can go away. And this should still pass. Nope. Undefined is not a function. Say what now? Doesn't this work? Pretty sure that should work. What does Babel compile this to? Babel. Yeah. What is this? Sliced to array utils 5. Oh, I think it's grabbing or making an array out of utils with 5 indexes or 5 elements. And then this is making one with 3 elements. Yeah, this looks correct. Undefined is not a function. That makes no sense. Huh. Weird. So if I say, oh wait, no, ha. We're destructuring objects. But that's a syntax error. Okay, destructure objects to existing variable. Oh, I think we need to wrap this in parentheses. Maybe? Nope. Huh. Looks like they wrapped the whole thing in parentheses, which doesn't make any sense to me. How are they doing this? This isn't exactly my question. I thought that you could do this. Here we go. I see. Okay. So that closing parentheses needs to end there. Wait, this is going to blow some people's minds if I show this. They'll be like, what's with the semicolon? And then I'll have to explain, well, semicolons, blah, 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 blah. And then they'll say, well, what about this? No, I don't understand. And they'll be like, nope, this is the worst. I hate you. That's what will happen. This wouldn't be as bad if use undo returned an object. Let's make it return an object and see what happens. So instead of state and then a bunch of helpers and stuff, we'll just combine it all. Now all of our tests will break. We can fix this one first. Whoops. There we go. Oh, thanks, Prettier. Making that look terrible. And then this one. I'm going to rename that. Undo data. Oh, right. This is helper 2. And then for the last, it's not quite as bad. And then of course sometimes people do have arrays and stuff and they'd have to deal with that, which is a bummer. This is actually how I'd write this if I wrote this myself. So okay, let's write a blog post about this. So let's say we've got this custom hook called use undo, inspired by what was the last blog post I used? Use state, use reducer. I link to this, the inspiration. Here we go. Inspired by Oh man, did I lose it? Use reducer by this person. Oh, cancel by this person. Okay, and then we'll come over to our real world, or no, to our example right here. Okay. With this, let's say we want to write a test for this so we can maintain confidence that as we make changes and bug fixes, we don't break existing functionality. There are a few ways to go about doing this. So let's start with the simplest. Okay, and actually, let's to get the maximum confidence, we want we should ensure that our tests resemble the way the software will be used. And let's find that. Tests resemble, this is it. I go to this tweet fairly often. Remember that tests are no different from other software. Oh, remember that software is all about automating things that we don't want to or cannot do manually. Tests are no different. So consider how you would test this manually, then write your test to do the same thing. If you were to test this manually, you'd probably write a component that uses the hook and then interact with that component rendered to the page. So let's do that. And I'm going to go here. We're going to make a use undo example.js file here, and I'm going to grab that real world component, put it right here. Export real, what do we call this? Or use undo example. That's what I'll call it. And since we're going to be rendering this, I'm going to just change it up a little bit. Put these two in a div together. And then this form is display block, right? I think it is. Put that button by itself on the new line. And then, there we go. Okay, and then let's go to our real world. We'll import from use undo example. I really should write some sort of remark thing that I can paste in some JavaScript and it'll render not only the JavaScript but also the like a actual rendered version of the thing that we're looking at. Like I'm thinking Reach UI. That's a good example of this. Where they've got the code example right here. Oh, I thought you could change it. Huh, you used to be able to change it. That's weird. Well, anyway, used to be able to change it. It was cool. But I don't have time to do that today. I've got lots of other things I need to get to. I need to get this over with. So we're going to go to the very top here, I guess. Import. And actually, I really need to abstract this too. Let's see. This thing. Interesting. Okay. This is not the component that I'm looking for. What is another? Use memo. Nope. Man, where's the thing where I'm actually rendering something? Let's rendered. That's what I called it. Okay, then we'll come in here, import star as from components. And import from use undo example. Okay, so then we'll come down here. Here's that rendered. Not rendered. Okay. I think this will work. Probably better start the dev server. Oh, let's make sure we have our imports in the right spot. Okay, let's start this. Okay. Great, so now we can test that hook manually using the example component that's using the hook. So to use software to automate our manual process, we just need to write a test that does the same thing we're doing manually. Here's what that looks like. No, not looks, is like. Here we go. And no music. Yeah, you can turn on your own music. People were complaining, so now I suffer for not having any music, but you don't have to suffer if you don't want it. So everyone wins, I guess. I don't know. I don't mind. It's fine. Okay. There we go. Yeah, that looks great. So let's save that. And let's take a look at our app. Looks like something's busted with things. Maybe it's not done yet. Yep, still going. And we've got, oh, that's not good. Hopefully that, great, we're generating thumbnails. This will take forever. Okay, actually, hold on. I'll be back in a sec. Alrighty, so I had to completely delete everything and I'm starting it over again, and this time we're not getting that warning right from the get-go, so hopefully that means it won't pop up again. So I'm just gonna keep on writing, and rats, dang it. Yeah, we've got some sort of issue. I saw this on a Create React app 2. I'm sure if I Google this, man, this is the worst. 3 days ago. Yep, that's when I found it. Okay, so I gotta find out what version of this I've got. Now that's interesting. Oh, they misspelled it. Nope, not fixed. Unless, yeah, Gatsby plugin MDX might be doing something weird. Let's look at the package JSON. Yeah, the preset env, maybe. No, that should be picking up the latest thing. Here, this isn't gonna work anyway, so oh, for crying out loud. Well, we've got the right version for all these things. And the preset React. It's interesting, Gatsby plugin MDX was not listed in here. There it is. Yeah, we got the right version of that. Maybe I've got a cache problem. I would assume that they would bust the cache if I reinstalled stuff. This morning was a bad time to update all the things. Now, I think if I look at my Gatsby Cloud dashboard, my builds are probably busted. Yep, there it is. And Netlify as well. Dang it, this is not the day that I wanted to have build problems. I wanted to be done by now. Really did. Because I have lots to do today. Yep, there it is. That is sad. Well, luckily for me, I can set the Babel config. In this case, not, but I can. So Gatsby Babel config. Because the container, you can, it just, to me, it seems like an arbitrary separation between the thing that does logic and the thing that shows the view. If you change the thing that does logic, you probably need to change the thing that does the view. And if you change the thing that does the view, you probably need to change the thing that does logic. So they're really just one thing. So I never did the container presentational component pattern. That never made sense to me. It was always arbitrary to me. If you like it, then feel free to keep on doing it. The world is your oyster. Gee whiz. Oh, what are they doing here for their workaround? We'll do the same thing. Try that again. With the Babel RC now. And while I'm waiting for that, we'll go to our Gatsby node here. And I really only want this pre-bootstrap and post-build stuff to run when we're running build, not when we're running dev. So Gatsby only for build. I'm guessing I'll have to key off an environment variable, but I'm not sure which one. This is something I can do later though. No, it failed again. Dang it. This is the worst. I can't do this. I don't have time for this. Okay, get revert that. Get add Babel RC and package lock and get reset. Or get get restore package lock. Right? That's what I want. Yeah. And okay. Now you've got to be kidding. I don't have time for spelling check. Restore. Okay. And shoot. Yeah. Okay. For goodness sake, I just need to get this done. This needs to get done. I need to move on. Yeah, okay. All right, I am installing, so Prettier is not going to work. Oh, sweet. Dependencies got installed. Nice. And it seems... Let's just see what happens. Seems like it might be working. I'm going to put that in the conclusion. I'm not going to show the helper 2 example. That one's just weird. We'll just get rid of that. Okay, one second. my daughter just came in to read with me. She was really excited because I told her, well, okay, so she's doing school at home, right? Because everybody is. And I told her that when I was in 5th grade, I was homeschooled that year. My mom homeschooled me and my 2 sisters. And I developed a habit of waking up at like 5 in the morning so that I could get my work done by around like 9 or 9:30, and then I just had the whole day to myself. That was like an entire year for me. And so she decided today that she wanted to have the whole day to herself, and so she got everything done for her schoolwork. She's like, yeah, she just had to read with me, and then she had, I think she's got a couple little chores, and then she'll have the whole day to herself. So she was really excited about that. Okay, let's finish this up. I just got a vibration in my pocket. Yeah, let me do something really quick. There we go. Okay, cool. So, let's see, React hooks, testing library. Read the docs. You got it. There. Note, you can test more than a single hook by simply calling all the hooks you want in the callback function you pass to render hook. Okay, and ability to re-render the component that's rendering the hook. Utility to re-render. Utility to unmount the component that's rendering the hook. To test cleanup. Effect cleanup functions. To test effect clean up and to test effect dependency changes. For example, it's for more than that. Several async utilities to wait an indefinite and unspecified amount of time to test mocked async logic, or yep. And that'll do it. Yeah, those are basically what you get. So if you writing a test-only component to support some of these requires a fair amount of boilerplate, error prone, and you can wind up spending more time testing your test components, writing and testing your test components, than the hook you're trying to test. But there are definitely more complicated hooks where using testing library React hooks is more useful. Under the hood, testing library React hooks is doing something very similar to our setup function. Original setup function above. If you want to learn more about this kind of thing, then I strongly suggest, well, I'll have a little carousel at the bottom. People can look at that. Okay, sweet. Hey, look. That seems to be working now. Sort of, maybe. Still in progress, 96%. I kind of don't care at this point. Kind of just want to add custom React hooks blog post. Add testing custom React hooks blog post. Did that say 102% done? I'm confused. Yeah, looks like somehow we added more images. Why do I have so many thumbnails I need to generate? I don't understand it. Well, in any case, I just pushed it up. So hopefully that works. I thought I just committed it. Git push. Here we go. Let's see which one of these picks it up first, or at least displays that they picked it up first. That one's queued. That one is not yet. If I refresh, I bet it will be. There it is. How do you have the debug propels terminal to the right? I don't remember, but you can find all my config settings here. Okay, I hope this works. But I'm gonna turn off this stream. I'm gonna start a new one because I'm gonna work on my bookshelf app. That's the thing I really need to get done today. So I will see you all soon. Yeah, I'll start this up here in a couple minutes. Bye.